Anyway, you can figure out these different grammatical rules, and Mark Hauser is doing that and has come to a set of rules, and I think those are very interesting. Like this rule we were talking about, or which is illustrated by the train dilemma, is what he calls the contact rule. It seems that whatever dilemma you place people in, and you have a distinction between doing harm to somebody by touching them physically, or doing harm to somebody by, using some kind of, a button or a stick or a handle, whatever, it's always viewed as worse to do it with physical contact, which makes sense. It's pretty much what we see, I suppose. It's very, very different to go out there and actually kill somebody with your hands than push a button and see some kind of, heat-seeking missile just going in over Baghdad and exploding something. It's very different. And there's another rule that I think is particularly interesting for a problem that we're discussing a lot in different societies, which is the activity rule. The activity rule says that it seems to be, people seem to think that it's much worse to do harm to somebody if you do it actively, by an action, than if you do it passively, by just not doing anything. And I think that is exactly the rule that we're seeing working in societies when we're debating euthanasia. Because what are we saying? We're saying that it's not okay for some reason, and people are very fluffy about this. It's something with, you can't take another life, well, but the person is asking for it. Yeah, but still, it's not a good thing. So you have all these discussions about it's somehow wrong to take another person's life. So you can't have a doctor actually giving somebody an injection. But on the other hand, in hospitals every day, you see people being killed passively, basically. You pull out the tubes, you stop feeding them, you stop giving them water, and they die. And it's the same thing that's happening, it's just more inhumane to do it by pulling out the tubes. But somehow it doesn't seem as bad. And I suppose that's, you could argue that the politicians of Holland, Belgium, and Switzerland are using their frontal cortex more than a lot of other politicians, since that they can actually overcome this rule and allow euthanasia. And I think it's really interesting that this discussion keeps going on in country after country, and it doesn't really get anywhere. I think that's a nice illustration of this, one of these grammatical moral rules. But then you could say, of course, so what's so revolutionary about that there is biology in moral sense? I think the revolutionary part of it is that when that kind of knowledge starts to seep into culture, it's something that everyone knows, then you become, I think, freer to look at yourself from the outside, and you become freer to actually to make moral choices, because you can look at them differently. You can say to yourself, there are rules that are given to us by evolution, and they might not be rules that are right. I mean, we can use our frontal cortex a little more and actually look at our moral choices and not just go with the amygdala feeling, the gut feeling. Because I think there is actually a lot of sort of romanticism surrounding emotions in our society. We hear a lot of talk about emotion as somehow natural and good impulses, and we should go with our emotions because that's good. It doesn't have to be good. Emotions are basically automatic decisions that our brains are making from these limbic areas, these sort of lower areas. They just pop up and tell us to, do something. And we get an urge to do something or not do something. And it doesn't have to be good because it's, because it's there. It's something that evolution gave us. It doesn't have to be great in our context today.